Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be solving the equation x to the power of x to the power of 3 is equal to 729. So, to solve this, what I'm first going to do is take the power of 3 on both sides. So I get x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3 is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is the same thing as a to the power of m times n. Now, m times n, I can also rewrite as n times m. And if something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of m times n, then a to the power of n times m should also equal to a to the power of n to the power of n. So in simpler terms, a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of n to the power of n. So now from here, I have x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3, and I can think of x to the power of 3 as m and 3 as n. So if I switch the places of these two, I get x to the power of 3 to the power of x to the power of 3. And remember, this is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, from here, I'm going to let x to the power of 3 equal to the variable y. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, I can simplify 729 to the power of 3. So 729 is the same thing as, 729, let's find some factors of this. So a factor of 729, let's try to divide this by 3. 729 divided by 3, we have 2 over here, so we get 6. We subtract 7 with 6, we get 1. We bring that to 2. 3 times 4 is 12. And now we bring that to 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So I get 729 is equal to 243 times 3. Now, 243, if I divide this by 3, I get 81. So I have this times 3 times 81, or sorry, I have 3 times 3 times 81, and 81 is the same thing as 3 to the power of 4. So I have 3 times 3 times 3 to the power of 4, which is equal to 3 to the power of 6, meaning 729 is the same thing as 3 to the power of 6. And 3 to the power of 6, I can break that down into 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared, which is equal to 9 to the power of 3. So I'm going to replace 9 to the power of 3 with 729. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3. And the reason I did this is because 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3 is the same thing as 9 to the power of 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 is 9. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 9 to the power of 9. And now I can use the property a to the power of a is equal to, if a to the power of a is equal to b to the power of b, this means that a equals b. So in this case, y is equal to 9. Now, recall how I let x to the power of 3 equal to y. Meaning, I get x to the power of 3 is equal to 9. So now to solve this, I'm going to take the cube root on both sides. So I get the cube root of x to the power of 3 is equal to the cube root of 9. Now the cube root of x to the power of 3 is simply just x. So I get x is equal to the cube root of 9. And this is the same thing as 9 to the power of 1/3. Alright, so in this problem, I have 4 to the power of x is equal to 8. So I want to find the value of x. For my solution, first start with 4 to the power of x is equal to 8. And 4, this is the same thing as 2 to the power of 2. And 8, this is the same thing as 2 to the power of 3. So now if I replace 4 with 2 to the power of 2, and if I replace 8 with 2 to the power of 3, I get 2 to the power of 2 to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 3. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is simply equal to a to the power of m times n. So 2 to the power of 2 to the power of x, that's going to equal 2 to the power of 2 times x, which is simply 2x, which is equal to 2 to the power of 3. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, then this means that m is equal to n. So in this case, 2x is equal to 3. So I have 2x is equal to 3, so I'm simply going to divide both sides by 2. These two cancel out, and I'll be left with x is equal to 3 over 2. So this is my answer. Now, there's actually a second method of solving this problem. So again, I first start with 4 to the power of x is equal to 8. But this time, I'm going to take the log on both sides. So now I have log 4 to the power of x is equal to log 8. Now, if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, I can actually move this exponent b to the front. So this is going to equal b times log a. So in this case, for log 4 to the power of x, I can move x to the front. So that's going to equal x times log 4, which is equal to log 8. Now I can simply divide both sides by log 4. These two cancel out, and I'll be left with x is equal to log 8 over log 4. Now, remember 8, that's equal to 2 to the power of 3, and 4 is equal to 2 to the power of 2. So now I have log 2 to the power of 3 over log 2 to the power of 2. Now I can move these exponents to the front. So now I have x is equal to 3 times log 2 over 2 times log 2. These two log 2's can cancel out, so I'll simply be left with x is equal to 3 over 2. So this is my answer. Alright, so for this problem, I have x is equal to x over 2. So I want to find the value of x here. So for my solution, first start with x is equal to x over 2. Now I'm actually going to subtract x over 2 on both sides. So then these two x over 2's cancel out, and now I'll be left with x minus x over 2 is equal to 0. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So now I have x minus x over 2 times 2 is equal to 2 times 0. So for 2 times x minus x over 2, I'm simply going to distribute the 2 to all terms in my parentheses here. So first off, 2 times x, that's simply equal to 2x, and 2 times negative x over 2, the 2 simply cancel out, so all I'll be left with is negative x. And this is equal to 2 times 0, which is simply equal to 0. So I have 2x minus x is equal to 0. Now 2x minus x, that's simply equal to x. So I have x is equal to 0. So x equals 0 is my solution. Now I actually have a second method of solving this problem. So again, I first start off with x is equal to x over 2. And now this time, instead of subtracting x over 2 on both sides, I'm actually going to multiply 2 on both sides. So I have 2 times x is equal to x over 2 times 2. Well, 2 times x is simply equal to 2x, and x over 2 times 2, these two 2's cancel out, so I'll simply be left with x. So I have 2x is equal to x. Now, I'm going to subtract x on both sides. These two cancel out, and I'll be left with 2x minus x, which is x, is equal to, on my right hand side, I'll have 0. So x equals 0 again. So now to check, I have x is equal to x over 2. We know that x equals 0. So I have 0 is equal to 0 over 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So I have 0 equals 0. And because this is right, my solution is right. Alright guys, so in this problem, I have 2 to the power of 20 minus 4. So I'm going to first start by rewriting 2 to the power of 20 as 2 to the power of 10 times 2. So I have 2 to the power of 10 times 2 minus 4. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m times n, this is equal to a to the power of m to the power of n. So 2 to the power of 10 times 2, we can rewrite as 2 to the power of 10 to the power of 2. Now I have this minus 4. 2 to the power of 10, that's equal to 1024. So now I have 1024 to the power of 2 minus 4. And 1024 I can rewrite as 1000 plus 24. So now I have 1000 plus 24 to the power of 2 minus 4. Now, if I have something in the form a plus b squared, this is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. In this case, a is equal to 1000 and b is equal to 24. So I have 1000 squared plus 2 times 1000 times 24 plus 24 squared. And then I have my minus 4 at the end. Now 1000 squared is equal to 1,000,000. 2 times 1000 is 2000. 2000 times 24 is going to be 48,000. Now 24 squared, that's going to equal 576. So I have 576 minus 4. And 576 minus 4 is 572. So I have 1,000,000 plus 48,000 plus 572. And this is equal to 1,048,572. So this is my answer.